Nsem-Pii TV nie.
Yura Okudzeto abrakwa. Babies with sharp teeth. Or you're one of them. The can. Yura I friend say Jerry John Rollins and the can a true knitting. I can say babies with sharp teeth. Okay. Na enona Yura poor advocate say what was it din or Jenny? Yura Okudzeto abrakwa on tipase. Na young man be making money. Nasa or building business. Opese u collapse. Ontiasie se wotumi anya aniema ebogana na anyambia eye abro anase beye come se Ghana fo bebre Ghanaian businesses bia omo de ka omo nkona nka agu na nka atete na nka ye pasa o se ade a enye na emwa Ewura Jerry John Rollins ebeye the same thing na enu bi eno de twa NDC fo fruma eha NDC fo a omo de omo su eno mo ban ye kan appear minka company JJ Rollins be how eno na Yewura Okudzeto abrakwa asase na why na you say the obeya amanfo anase Ghanaian business be good na Paul Admoche say go to Nigeria Dangote and a lot of top businessmen omunyina Nigeria government is supporting them na aboa ma Nigeria ajodi na ade na Ghana nkwade you this problem etifo yanko na Yewura Paul Admoche ema Okudzeto abrakwa eye mobo say yanko ngoti emra.
They are very happy with that. They okay, hey, Bolare wants to chat theater because he's a friend of Bagbin, and Bagbin did it for him. And then, if they say it is Cole, Captain Palmer, Edwards, Okudzeto Ablakwa will not say anything. Nobody will say anything. We have to stop that in Ghana. We have to treat this matter like a revolution. We have to treat it like the 1981 revolution that Rollins wrote, together with Akatapori, Zariebo, and Yen Yen, who took us nowhere. That 1981 revolution took us nowhere. We have to have another revolution that is taking us somewhere. It's a revolution of the mind. It's a revolution that changes the mindset of our people and brings us progressive mindset, not negative energy. Everything for Ghanaian must be pulled down. Everything going to a Ghanaian must be pulled down. Whether it is NDC or MPP, let them rise up. Don't eat your golden eggs. Please, have they found the Buzia thing? Yes, let me listen to Professor Buzia now before I come to Brian. Play Professor Buzia, 1969. I wasn't born. I'm sure you were not born. Maybe she was born. 1969 is when Buzia said this. Have a listen.
We cannot be economically independent unless the economy of Ghana and the whole financial network is to a large extent in the hands of Ghanaians themselves. Therefore, the Progress Party supports wholeheartedly a policy for the Ghananization of the economy of Ghana. We cannot be economically independent unless the economy of Ghana and the whole financial network is to a large extent in the hands of Ghanaians themselves. Therefore, the Progress Party supports wholeheartedly a policy for the Ghananization of the economy of Ghana.
You heard Prime Minister Buzia speaking in 1969 that we cannot do this unless the whole economy is in the hands of Ghanaians themselves. And we say that we are divesting ourselves of Ghanaian hotels. Please get the Imani document and I'll read it very soon. We are divesting Ghanaians we are divesting Senate of these hotels that are run down. The pension doesn't make any money from it. All the pensioners who are complaining, you are not making any money from your pension. If this is going to be applied and the guy is going to give Senate money for 60% of the stake, Senate is not losing all of it. It's going to get 40%. What do you get with 100% of zero? La Palm Royal Beach lying down there. When Jose Mourinho came to Ghana, I believe it was in 2008. Kofi Amwa was running African Cup of Nations, and you know my relationship with Kofi Amwa. So I was in Mourinho's company. We took him all around. That's where Jose Mourinho stayed. That is where he stayed. The ball on which he wrote my name on it, I still have it. Jose Mourinho stayed in La Palm. It was in his dying embers. The 2008 committee, go and ask Rex Brobe. They had to quickly go to La Palm and put something there together and hurry up and do something. Now, Jose Mourinho cannot stay at La Palm if he comes to Ghana. So you have 100% of zero. If you are going to get 40% of a million, is it not better than 100% of zero? Why are we like this? Why? And it's an election year. So Okudzeto Ablakwa is trying to make Nsem-Pii and Akufo-Addo and Bawumia look bad. Please get me the Bawumia Kaya pictures and I'll deal with it. And I'll come to Nsem-Pii a bit later. Okudzeto Ablakwa, he wants Ghanaians to feel that Nsem-Pii is doing something wrong, just so that NDC can catapult them their way to power. Not so much because NDC have done anything or have a policy or are articulating any policy, but that they are selling hotels to themselves. These kinds of rhetoric that was used in 1981 by Akatapori, Yen Yen, Zayebo. Where are they today? Where did they take this country? JJ Rollins. What happened to the country? Zero. We went nowhere. All the youth are backward. We were watching black and white television when Nigeria was watching color television because of the excesses of that horrendous revolution, which was unwarranted. And Okudzeto Ablakwa wants to take us back to that revolution, the revolution that is looking for Apente Mensah to kill him because he's a businessman, the revolution that is looking for Boachi Matres to kill him because he's a businessman. That wanton abuse of rights, which occurred in Ghana in 1981, is where they are taking us to. Anything Ghanaian is wrong. Any Ghanaian cannot own anything. Everything must go to Cole, Carlton, Palmer, Edwards. What kind of thing is that? And Mr. Speaker must call Ablakwa to order that we cannot do that in this house. If there's a problem with this, you can deal with it. And I'm going to show you that on radio this morning, Brian Achampa was able to explain to the viewer, the listeners of Joy FM, that there's absolutely no problem with it. This is Franklin Kujo. He starts. He says, I think it is sensible for a state behemoth such as SSNIT, eternally abused by past and present politicians, to scale down on its real estate business, which has never been profitable. Did you hear Franklin Kujo? He says it has never been profitable. TUC unions and all those that Ablakwa may have infested. This is Franklin Kujo speaking as a civil society person. He's not a member of the Nsem-Pii. He's been critical of the Nsem-Pii. He's not a friend of Akufo-Addo. He's been critical of Akufo-Addo. That's not the point. The point is nation building. People are allowed to be critical of Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo is not going to be an angel. I am not an angel. You are not an angel. So if you take a position, the positions that you hold, the position that Ablakwa holds, is he an angel? Didn't Martin Amidu go to Supreme Court that Ablakwa has chopped $1.9 million of isophoto money? Didn't Martin Amidu sue him? But that is okay. He's doing his work as an MP. We support the work that he's doing. Look at the work he did when the Mepe thing happened. Everybody supports that. City FM supported his work. No problem about that. But we have to build our country, not based on this political infestation that there's an election. So we have to make sure that the opponent looks bad and you grab anything and you come and say that Brian Achampa shouldn't have it because he's a black-skinned man. What are you talking about? Wait, what is this? He says that the politicians should scale down their business, which has never been profitable. Similarly, he goes on. SSNIT should seek private sector participation, co-investment in wholly owned hotels, which are all not running efficiently. Not only will that free up some liquidity, but it will also amputate the long arm of the politicians, which tend to reach into the brick and mortar business over which SSNIT has control. I hope the TUC people are listening. Those that say that the investment for SSNIT is for all of us, I hope they are all listening. That said, he says, I will support any competitive divestiture that brings on board more money, technology, skill, preserves Ghanaian management. I think the investment plan proposed and the price agreed for the 4 hotels is fair. Ablakwa, are you listening? Honorable Ablakwa, are you listening to Franklin Kujo? Are you listening? He says that, and Franklin Kujo is going to justify why he's, I've read it already, so I'm just sharing with you. He's going to justify why he thinks it's fair. He says, I think the investment plan proposed and the price agreed for the 4 hotels is fair. He justifies it. Listen, as you all know, I studied land economy and valuation of assets is at the core of the program. He studied land economy and the valuation of assets is at the core of the land economy program. That's why I like the intellectualism. Franklin Kujo is a young man, he's in his 40s. Fantastic. When you have people like this who are participating in the development of Ghana, then we are going to get somewhere. People who are not emotional about it. People who are not thinking about ballot box. But they are thinking about the society, about the nation, how it moves forward. This is not about ballot box. As for Okudzeto, Blackwa and his friends, everything is about ballot box. That's where they live and breathe. Why? Because from school they came to ballot box. You can't blame them for that. The other people come from school from ballot box who do something. No problem. That's you come from school and go to politics. It's not a crime. It is fine. But don't let that confuse you that everything is about ballot box. Because life and everything is not about ballot box. The fact that you just came from school to politics, you haven't worked before, and so you think everything is ballot box. Who told you that? Who told you everything is ballot box? If you had the opportunity to do something before you came to politics, you would have understood that everything about life is not ballot box. You walk from university and come straight to politics, so you think everything is ballot box. Who told you everything is ballot box? Yes, Franklin Kujo, who is not a necessarily supporter of any political party, but he is saying that it is important that Senate takes the decisions that they are taking. The decisions that Senate are taking today, Kujo is hoping that such decisions would have been taken earlier. And he's saying that he has looked at the valuation based on his own expertise as a land economist, and the pricing is fair. Let me go on. In a discussion with a course mate of mine on our platform, he shares the insights below. I have his permission to share it with you. Okay, another land economist talking. Many have questioned lots of the investments of SNIT and wondered if they were worth it. In fact, but for the fact that SNIT receives regular inflows by way of monthly contributions 12 months a year, that organization would have been in comatose by now. I strongly believe that one of the wasted investments of SNIT was the hotel business. Now, I don't even want to get political. Go and look at the record of SNIT. Who and whom created the hotel business? Go and check. Ablakwa, go and check. Who and whom created the hotel business that they say it has become wasteful? Who created it? We don't want to be political. Who created the SNIT Hotel, La Palm and Co? Who created it? In the valuation we did for those hotels, accounts running for 5 consecutive years were all losses. Hence, we had to rely on the depreciated replacement cost approach instead of preferred profits method for the valuation. Which rational investor will keep to this investment given the high capital outlay and the maintenance cost? Speaking now as a valuer and a rational investor, I would never have put my money in those SNIT hotels, but some investors are daring. They see what others can't. Perhaps power. Okay, let me go on. Perhaps power reminds me of the last conversation in the movie The Kingdom of Heaven between Balian and Christian and Saladin, the Muslim who had just taken Jerusalem from the Christians. I've not watched that movie, but it sounds like a very interesting movie. Balian, played out by Orlando Bloom, asked what is the city of Jerusalem worth? Saladin's response initially is nothing. Turns round and walks towards his camp. Then turns back towards Balian and says everything with a smile on his face, and then returns to his camp. What did Saladin mean by saying nothing and then later everything? The answer, everything, symbolizes the power whoever controlled Jerusalem would wield. Even ever wonder why Jerusalem is what it is today to Arabs and to Jews? Go figure out. Okay, so there you are. Will you be an able risk-taking entrepreneur and buy these hotels? Oh, is that all? All right. Okay, so that's about it. So forget about the quotation. Frankly, Kujo's expert opinion is that this is something that should be done. Okay, let's go and listen to the Joy FM story. I've been told that we are going off Metro TV, so viewers who want to come. Brian Achampong explaining to Ablakwa that there's a distinction between the individual Brian Achampong and the company Rock City Hotels. Have a listen.
You could have reached out to me for clarification. If you had done so, I don't think that you'd be here, because a lot of the things that you are putting out are factually inaccurate. But I'm pleading with Joy FM to give us all the time, even if I have to pay for it, so that Sami will ask me all the questions that he has, so that I deal with it. First of all, I want to deal with the matters as Brian Achampong, the politician, and then the company that I also own shares in. They are two different entities. Brian Achampong is completely different from Rock City. If I die today, Rock City will go on. The Rock City and its branches across the country in Kumasi, Takrady, Cape Coast, Ada, Akosombo, there are almost 1,000 workers, and we support the communities that we are in, directly or indirectly. So at least if you are probed on this transaction, you will be putting all these things out there, denting my image and hard-won credibility. But I put it to you, please ask me any questions that you have so that I can help you.
Mr. Blakwa.
Yes, so let me, first of all, assure the Honorable Brian Champon that this is not personal, as I've always maintained. Yes, we serve on the same committee, we serve in Parliament together. I have always taken this position, and the Honorable Brian Champon, that even in the House, we're very consistent on these matters. And 16 years ago, when I took the Honorable Jacob Echebilamte to court, he traveled all the way to the Supreme Court. Indeed, the Supreme Court commended our effort for seeking to preserve that state asset he was trying to purchase. So, saying that I should have spoken to you directly and all of that, these are matters that are in the public interest and matters that should not be handled at the personal level, and that's why I didn't think that these are matters that should be handled as friends. Having said that,
I mean, I agree with you, except to say that even though the Supreme Court commended the action that you are taking, you lost the case at the Supreme Court. You always leave that one out in your conclusion. But what you have done, what you have succeeded in doing, is that you have tarnished Jacob Lamte's image throughout the process. You spoke on the matter, tarnished his image, and even now you are speaking about it, saying that the Supreme Court commended you. But you always fail to add that you lost the case in the Supreme Court, and you tarnished the man's image. You went on and on and on and destroyed a man, and in the end the law backed him. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes if you consult, you will get the fact, and you will not destroy people. It's not easy trying to repair an image that you have destroyed with facts that are not true, with information that are not true. That is why I asked you that if you had spoken with me, you wouldn't have even gone this far. To the extent to which you want to damage my reputation and the brand of Rock City.
Two of them. That's on Joy FM this morning. Look at Ablakwa. You went to Supreme Court, you tarnished Obechebi Lamte's image. Eventually, Obechebi Lamte won the case. And he's referring to the case. Doesn't he understand that the ruling of the court is the winning verdict? It's not the losing one. That you went to court. Yes, the Supreme Court said, yeah, it's good to come to court, but you are wrong. Because you're a young man, they don't want to discourage you. And that's great. That's great. The Supreme Court did great. Encourage the young people to bring matters to court. So they said, oh, you've done well by bringing it to court. But you are wrong. Obechebi Lamte is right. Now he's repeating it 16 years later. He's leaving out the critical. You see their propaganda mind. Propaganda, a party that has propaganda secretary. After Damboche mounted pressure on them, they went back to their constitution to change. I have interviewed NDC and people on Joy FM in 1999 when Damboche consistently, whether it's at Joy FM, Radio Gold, Vive FM, Damboche always remind them that how can a political party have a propaganda secretary? What mind do you have for the people of Ghana? You have something called propaganda. That's what Fifi Kwete was. That's what Sami Jenfi has become. Now they call it Director of Communication. But in the original Constitution 1992, they had a role at the National Executive for somebody called Propaganda Secretary. And those days, Damboche will challenge you, the host. I was there. He said, Paul, take your dictionary and check propaganda. You look at propaganda, the first thing you see is lies. Those days, you open a dictionary. Propaganda means what? Lies. And NDC had propaganda secretary. And Damboche is the single person who mounted such pressure on them that they went to change their constitution. They call it Director of Communication. But it's good. It means we are moving forward. It means we are moving forward. Look at my friend Sami Okudzeto. You go and denigrate Obechebi Lamte, disgrace him. Look at the work Obechebi Lamte has done in this country compared to my work, which is zero to what Obechebi Lamte did. Then as for you, is below zero, is negative. And then you go and denigrate him. The man is dead. 16 years later, you sit on radio. If Brian Champon doesn't have the information. And this is why I am angry with the media. You can't come on Good Evening Ghana and say these things. That's why they don't come. When you hear people say, we don't come to Good Evening Ghana, it's not that they don't want to come, they are afraid of the information available here. Because if a black man dares sit on this program, and I will quickly bring the law reports. I will quickly, and they know, so they